Breaking news. Andre Drummond may be traded to the Atlanta Hawks. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And it is your boy JRob447 back at it again with another video. And yes, like I said, it has been announced by Adrian Wojnarowski that Andre Drummond, Detroit and Atlanta have been engaged in talks on a trade centered around Andre Drummond, league sources tell ESPN. There's no deal imminent, but Detroit is talking to the Hawks and other several teams on Drummond. Then he went on to quote tweet that previous tweet and said that Drummond also has a $28 million player option for next season, and he is unlikely to exercise that player option, forcing the Pistons to consider the possibility of losing him in free agency. And among terms, then there's an increasing belief that Drummond will be moved before February 6th on the trade deadline. Now that is pretty big news, because when you look at the Pistons record this year, they're not doing that great. I thought they'd do a lot better. I mean, Blake Griffin is playing horribly, shooting like 35% from the field. It's not good whatsoever, and they're right now currently 11th in the Eastern Conference, 3.5 games out of the 8th spot. And when we look at Andre Drummond's stats, I mean, he's not having a bad year whatsoever. He's averaging the highest points on the team with 17.6 points per game, 15.8 rebounds, and 2.7 assists. That's actually pretty impressive, with 1.8 blocks per game. And if we actually compare that to what he's done in his career, this is probably his best season ever. So he could be looking to make a lot of money this summer. But if he goes to the Hawks, when we look at the Hawks record and what they're doing right now, they are the worst team in the Eastern Conference. They have a 7-27 record. They are going to be getting another big draft pick next year. But they do have some promise, because they do have some players who are pretty good and they're young, like Trae Young, who's averaging 28 points per game and 8.3 assists per game. Those are video game numbers. And John Collins, who just came back from his suspension, he's already averaging 18 points per game and 9.9 rebounds per game. So right there you can see the promise that the Atlanta Hawks have. So if he does go to the Hawks, it's not like this year is probably going to be a wash, and who knows if he'll actually stay. Sorry about that. Who knows if he'll actually play with the Hawks, okay? So it's just, I don't really see him staying with the Hawks, because he probably wants to be with a contender. Maybe the Hawks can turn into a contender next year. I mean, you look at the Dallas Mavericks. Nobody thought that they would be that high in the Western Conference right now, and look at them. So Andre Drummond could definitely be the difference maker. If I'm looking at John Collins can stretch out and shoot threes, so that is one upside to his game. So they could technically space out the floor. All right, and Jabari Parker, he's also on the Hawks. I don't know how much he has left on his contract, but he's a decent small forward, power forward, combo forward guy. I don't really like him in a lineup with John Collins and Andre Drummond, but they do also have DeAndre Hunter, who I think can fit with them. I also like the way Kevin Huerter plays, and they also have Cam Reddish, Alex Len, Damian Jones also on the team, DeAndre Brembry. So I mean, they got a lot of young guys who haven't really proven much, but I don't know what benefit the Hawks would get out of this if they don't look to re-sign him at the end of this year, because to be honest, the Hawks are probably trying to get another top draft pick. Now, if they actually start winning, because the East is not decided yet, to be honest. I mean, when you look at the standings, the Knicks have been really bad. All right, the Knicks are 10-24, and the Knicks are only 5 games out of the 8th spot. All right, that's not that bad. And I mean, the Hawks, though, they're 8 games out of the 8th spot, so they're not going to make the playoffs, but potentially they could mess up their odds at getting a top pick. But at the same time, this draft is going to be a robust draft. I mean, we got Anthony Edwards, we got LaMelo Ball, we got James Wiseman. So there are definitely some studs in this draft. I didn't really like last year's draft, but then again, some of the players are actually proving themselves, so I cannot go off of that. alone. But yeah, let me know what y'all think down below in the comments. Do you think that Atlanta would actually trade for Andre Drummond? Do you think that this is a move that could benefit both teams? I know the Pistons, I don't know what direction they're going in. They probably want to make the playoffs, but Blake Griffin is having a historically bad season. All right, if I look at his stats right now, he's averaging 15 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, and only 3 assists. We know Blake can dish. The only time he averaged less assists was his second year in the league, and he's never had less than 6 rebounds, and he's averaging 4.7 rebounds a game. This is insane. And when you also look at his scoring, this is the worst scoring year he's ever had. He's playing the least amount of minutes, could be due to injury as well, so I cannot leave that out. But he's only shooting 35% from the field, 24% from 3. Bruh, he was shooting there's 2 years that he was shooting worse than that when he was playing with the Clippers, but those were his early years where he was not taking more than 1 3 a game. Last year he was taking 7 threes a game, shooting 36%. This year he's taking 6 threes a game, shooting 24%. So Blake Griffin is not doing that great whatsoever. And then I think Reggie Jackson's injured, so that's another problem that Detroit has. Yes, Derrick Rose is playing great, but they really don't have anybody else. I mean, I think Luke Kennard is injured right now, so they got injuries that they're dealing with. Their stars are not up to par as where they should be, so this is a problem for them. I don't know if this trade would really benefit both teams. I mean, if the Hawks can actually look to re-sign Andre Drummond and he actually stays there, I mean, that'd be good for him. Honestly, if I was an NBA player, I don't know if I'd really want to be in Detroit or Cleveland. Those don't look like the hot places to be. No hate, but I'm just saying, I'd take Atlanta over Detroit in a heartbeat, all right? And I just feel like the culture is a lot different. I mean, the Detroit Pistons, I don't know where they're going. They might as well tank and get another pick because this season is basically a wash. I don't know how many years Blake Griffin's got left on his contract because he might be looking to get out of there as well. If I look at Blake Griffin's contract, let me see because Blake Griffin, so Blake Griffin is signed to the Pistons for another 2 years. And I believe he has a player option. So, yeah, he's pretty much stuck with them unless they trade him. So, and Blake, if he's like the last person in Detroit, he's on like, hey, yo, you might as well trade me too. So you might see Detroit clean house. All right, so this free agency is going to get a lot more interesting as time goes on, and we're already starting the New Year's off with this breaking news. So like I said earlier, please let me know what y'all think is going to happen down below. And as always, this has been another J-Rob video. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and peace. Ballin' too hard through the net, swish. I'm coming with the heat, you need protection. You'll be doomed if you enter my section. Yeah, I'm coming up, just had to mention. Ballin' too hard through the net, swish. I'm coming with the heat, you need protection. You'll be doomed if you enter my section. Yeah, I'm coming up, just had to mention. Came out from the deep end, barely eating. Y'all keep sleeping, y'all keep reaching, looking for some handouts. What's that about? We not trick-or-treating, no kidding. People think that I'm conceited, giving me your 2 cents. Do you really think I need it? Can't apologize, that's just part of my persona. California dreaming while I'm drinking Arizona. Finally I'm woke, returning from the coma. Can't run, can't hide, here comes the supernova. Going fast on the gas, you ain't gonna see me slow up. Limelight coming soon, getting ready for my close-up. Rushing into things, reminiscing as a grown-up. Thank God for my mistakes, I could finally see the glow up. Y'all slaves to the game, but I'm chainless. I gotta roll the dice like I'm in Vegas. I'm pulling up from deep, it's always wet shit. And if you're talking shit, you need to exit.
Bowling too hard through the net, swish.